They had a car wreck here on that little circle that starts. Yeah, but Steve showed, he was the cop. I pulled up there. And I said, "You better hurry up with this." I said, "We got a city council meeting." He said, "I know, I know." He said, "Well, I'm gonna be there. Josh will be there." Well, you're downstairs. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we call and pick up and we're gonna bring some into one again.
I think the people that push it.
Yeah.
Get in there and look. I said, "Absolutely not. We're not living in that damn thing." There was white benches and all kinds
I
of
wonder
stuff.
how many people really know that they don't have.
Yes, no, but he's a tourist.
I think it's a great.
He got told me he didn't have all of it. He called me tonight.
Yeah,
A lot of that staying out
I don't, I didn't look tonight. I was just thinking. So the street where the dumpster is that 21st?
I think.
What's that at the park? Okay, so when you go down and you make that turn to go to South Carolina or North Carolina. If,
Oh, it's real bad.
yeah, so if we can maybe look at that in the future on that road. I drove the other day, I'm like, holy cow. But I was like, hey, that was in there, but I couldn't remember.
All of South Carolina is pretty bad.
That corner right there is really.
Oh, yeah. That might be something that we have to take on ourselves.
Yeah. What's our people? It's 6 o'clock. Bill's not here.
No, he's not gonna be here.
Robert's not gonna be here.
No. I'll call this meeting to order. This is council of the whole meeting for work session. Monday, October the 9th, 6 p.m. City clerk, can you go ahead and take a roll call, please?
Councilman Dodd?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Sherman? Yes. Councilwoman Portis? Yes. Councilman Sudar? Councilman Price?
Here.
Councilman Jordan? Councilman Bell?
Present.
And Councilman Baker? Here.
And Councilman Bell, would you lead us to pledge allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Sudar and Councilman Jordan will not be in attendance tonight. They let us know. They got prior engagements that they couldn't get away from. First item is city administrator.
So right now, one of the things that I asked April to make a copy is some survey questions. The idea is to get a better range of voices from Louisiana. It seems like we have a set number of people who come to the council meetings and voice their concerns on different issues. But I would like to get a bigger picture of the entire town. I have some samples that I came up with. It's about 2 pages. I would love to have your input and your questions on that so we can have a better voice of that. One of the things that's brought to my attention recently was I got a couple of pictures underneath the bridges of Georgia Street and South Carolina. And I was made aware of a water flow the branch, on Tennessee Street. I requested a bridge reports from MoDOT. I have them. And so that, since that is their realm, as well as DNR, it's gonna take some work to get them fixed, but we need to get them fixed. And so that's on our radar. I tried to call the state auditor, Friday, but ran out of time, and today was a holiday, so that's on my agenda to call, because they told us late fall, and we assumed that was October. But I want to get their definition of late fall. Hopefully they will start then. And that's what I have now.
Any updates on the moving forward as far as going into or mid-year budget, as far as plans, as far as where we're at with our treasurer and our accounting stuff in general?
I talked to the treasurer, and the treasurer has pretty much everything entered into DAFRON. The problem is DAFRON has some issues on their end as far as printing out these reports. And she's been on the phone with them every day for the last, I'm gonna say, week and a half, trying to get those issues fixed. So once those issues are fixed, then the council will get a slew of monthly reports. And we will start mid-year budget in November, so we should start that soon, as far as that process goes.
Okay. Any questions for the city administrator? All right. Next item on the agenda is the fire chief.
Give you guys a little bit of update here, what we've been going on over the last year or so. Coming into October 1st, the fire department has ran I'll tell you, we've been paged out 309 times. Unfortunately, because we are volunteer Monday through Friday, people work in the nature. We've only been able to respond to 226 of those calls. That's leaving 83 calls with no response. Luckily, we've got a good working relationship with our mutual aid companies, and they've been able to come and help us. But 76 out of those 226 are fire related calls, whether that's a house fire, a wreck, electrical hazard. So we're staying pretty busy. On average, we're running about 35 to 40 calls is where that puts us a month. Membership wise, our numbers are very low. It's kind of the national thing now. Volunteers, it's just kind of hard to get everybody. Currently, we only have 11 active members. Our roster holds 24. We do have 5 applicants right now that we are pending the process and see if we can get some more on. We did just get one put on through the background check, so that 11 will become officially 12 this Wednesday, once he gets his gear and papers and everything. We aren't doing too bad with our gear, with our equipment. We still have about, a good 5 years left on our turnout gear. Our air packs, we still have good 10 years left on them before we have to get new. So equipment wise that we've replaced over the last 4 or 5 years is still being maintained. There are some items that will be coming up equipment wise that we will need to be replaced sooner than later. A big one's going to be our thermal camera. That will be something that in the next year, I would say, will be something that I'll be looking to purchase. Our biggest thing that we're trying to do right now in-house is just kind of upkeep. We had a dumpster sitting outside probably about 3 months ago. We cleaned out a lot. We're also going to be working on the outside to do a lot of our repairs and really just get the firehouse presentable. Truck wise, we have a truck that sits in there right now. It's a 2007 Pierce Pumper. It's the single cab truck that we have. We purchased our bigger truck. It holds 6 people. It has the same equipment as our 2007. So our first due out truck is our bigger truck. Well, unfortunately, that 2007 truck just sits there. It sat there for about the last 3 years, other than
maintenance test and training, it really doesn't go much. Now, if we have a mutual aid fire out in the county or here and there, we take it. On average, that truck gets less than 100 miles put on it a year. The value of that truck, money wise, is sitting anywhere between $90,000 to $130,000 is what I've been asked about, because I've been talking to someone to sell that to get a truck that we use. These are all things moving forward. I would like eventually to be able to move a truck that we don't really have any need for, to put a tanker in there that holds more water, because that's what we need more water inside the city limits. That's another day. I'm not quite ready to present that, but to look for. I think we can get some good value out of this truck with no miles, and limited and low hours. So I'd like to touch that. Some desperate needs that we need right now, and a trailer for our side by side. That's gonna be our number one. Right now, currently, we're having to use our own personal trailers to move that anywhere within that we need to. It's been used quite a bit, more than I actually thought we were gonna use it. We use it to help officers quite a bit. I know we've done some stuff even with the water department with it, so it's been good for the city. Our next recent project before the winter gets here, we're gonna be doing some painting, some scraping. I've got some garage doors that are gonna be coming in the end of this month. So we'll have all new garage doors, and for the first time, the fire department is gonna have garage door openers in our vehicles, which something that we don't think about, but it's gonna be very nice for us. That's kind of where we're at right now. I know we've got some other little maintenance projects, but I really want to get the maintenance part of the building and the department get going before winter gets here. So hopefully when spring comes around, we can move past and start focusing on bigger issues other than the way our building looks. So, any questions for me pertaining to the fire?
You do have the doors coming in?
Yes, so they were approved 3 or 4 months ago. We had a little bit of issue with paperwork and this and that. They got ordered last month and it took 3 weeks for them to get here. And they're actually sitting in Hannibal with a 2-week install date, so they will be here soon, hopefully.
Any idea how much the trailer for a side by side might cost?
So I looked at a couple different, I just looked at used trailers. We're not needing, we're not needing a cargo trailer. We're not needing, just need a flatbed trailer approximately 12 feet in length.
14, I think. I think the one we just purchased was 12 or 1400. It's
Yeah.
brand new from CMC.
Ideally, I would like a trailer that's around the 12, 14, 16 feet. So that way I can put some boxes in the front so we can put our blowers and chainsaws and fuels in there. So whenever that trailer goes out, that side by side goes out, it's got everything you need already built into on the trailer.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Current insert rating is what?
All right, so there's 6.
Now, with that being said, that brings up another point. I know a majority of this is, when's the last time we had an audit with?
3 years ago.
3 years, and it's one every 10 years,
5.
every 5? Okay, I know within the last few years, our water supply has significantly improved with the new water main going through town.
So we got hit with water. He actually, when he did the survey, he suggested for us to get some points of with unfortunately buying trucks. We needed about 3,500 more gallons in our firehouse for the city limits of Louisiana, just to essentially break even.
Right.
Right, so that was some of the reason to trade in this 1,000-gallon pumper.
That's 10, right?
Yes, changing for something around 2,000 gallons again, and start working our way up to bringing in more water in-house. Because currently, especially on the west end of town, or anything big working fires, you'll notice we always drop our big dump tanks when we call in mission, so that way we can, if we need an aerial, we always got a good steady water supply. Because some of our mains that we've hit before have been 2 inches, and you're just not gonna do much.
I know, a couple of things. I know we're looking at putting a water tank west end of town.
Mhm.
But this ISO, Brady, do you have those reports or do I need to
Yes.
call? Okay. I'd like to get a copy of the last one we had. there.
And they changed it all to 6A and 6B and all that, but yeah, I have all the printout.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to get a copy of it and that'll give us something to target.
Is that digital?
No. No, I know they mailed me an envelope that I had down there that I just looked at within the month, so.
All right, appreciate it, Chief. And then police chief,
See, some of this is on the agenda later, so. But I just talk basically. Overall status, we're still working with just really the three of us full time. And we do have Dalen that started part-time, which has helped out. Quite a bit because he's on days, so it helps free me up to take care of some other things. We've got our cadets going through the academy. They're on week 2, doing good so far. We've gotten them all the equipment and ammunition and everything that they need to, take care of business down there. We've got a free trial of body cameras that are coming that we're going to put into place that they are relatively cheap. So I'm going to present probably, as long as they work out well, I'll do something else and present that to you all for your approval for us to keep them and retain those. But the trial period is 45 days. And they said, what she told me was 45 days-ish. We're not too worried about it if you go over it or, whatever. So at least it gives us something, a legitimate system versus the old one we were trying to make do with. That's about what I've got.
when are they, whenever we receive them?
The cameras will be here, I believe it's either 16th or 17th.
So you'll probably have them being used for 1 week prior to the council meeting?
Probably, yes.
So,
Because they're supposed to be they'll be completely done and installed that day, and we'll be able to put them into use then. Because they're actually going to train us all on everything to do with them the same day they install.
do you foresee, a recommendation for the regular council meeting
I do,
for or against?
I do for them. They've gotten good reviews. Bowling Green was going to purchase. They're still trying to work up the funds to do it.
And what was the cost?
The cost was approximately 3,700. I think it was 36 something, but we'll just go over a little bit and say it was 37. And that gives us 5 fully functioning body cameras, and it also includes so a lot of stuff with body cameras is that your videos have to go to a place where they're tamper proof because they need evidence continuity just like everything else. And these back up to a cloud. And it has software that redacts things that we would need redacted that's included everything else. So now it is the one thing I will say about these body cameras, it comes with everything for that price, but that's also a price that we have to pay every year. So, which is bad in a way, but good in another way, because if the cameras get damaged, anything else, they just ship us a brand new one. And when new ones come out, they just supply us with the new cameras.
So that's actually 3,700 yearly service fee.
Right. And like I said, they keep you current and all your equipment and everything else that way. And the redaction software to redact that stuff is pretty expensive in upon itself. Because if we have something sunshine law requested, that say as a juvenile, or people talking with dates of birth, social security numbers, things like that, and that's all stuff that we would have to purchase software to redact ourselves if we don't get something that includes all that. So there's extra fees, if we want one.
How's the department? I know as far as staffing, I understand the concerns on the staffing. How's the fleet doing for long range planning? What do we need? Anything?
Those are doing good. They've all recently been serviced. Right now, I do, however, think that there's the Taurus we need to look at getting another tire for. They had an issue with with a flat on it, and it was in the sidewall. So we need to look at finding some kind of tire for it. Currently, it's just the one that they are utilizing to go back and forth to the academy. And we're also going to start looking into some kind of long-term stay down there for them. Because with the gas money back and forth, it may just be more feasible to find lodging for them while they're down there, if they're cheaper. It's in Columbia.
The tires you're looking for the car that's driving back and forth. You already got 2 brand new ones
We did. I wasn't aware of that.
sitting in my shop. They've been sitting in my shop for 2 years.
Fair. Sounds like we got a solution there.
Plus, I also got 2 other ones that are almost new that were takeoffs off the spares that were taken and traded.
All right. Sounds like we have a solution there.
But right there is gonna save you a ton.
So.
What about the, any of the equipment? How's the new, y'all qualified with the new,
The new firearms, we qualified with them Saturday. It was collaborative from Old Monroe ran the range police department, but it was us and Bowling Green, and then all the Old Monroe officers qualified. And everybody qualified, guns did good.
all right. Any questions for the chief? All right, thank you, Chief. All right, Councilman Sutter is not here. He is just gonna give a brief update on the street projects with the Mid-River asphalt. Due to the weather, they may get it done this year, but otherwise it's looking like spring. They need temperatures over evenings to be above 50 degrees. So that is one of the contingencies that they had on their bid when we approved it. Still looking at doing the same streets that we had awarded, no changes. The distribution projects, I really don't have a update that was shared with me on that. The 14th Street in Tennessee, the concern that the resident had there about the water runoff and the drainage on the west side, excuse me, on the east side of the roadway. The street department and city administrator is aware that we do have funds left over from the ARPA that can be utilized to make any improvements to that. So it's just a matter of whether or not our guys and our team comes up with a plan to make the improvements, or whether or not we spend the money and have it engineered and look at it that way. Of course, we have it engineered, probably half the cost is just gonna go to the engineers, but I'm gonna kind of let the team make that recommendation when they get to that point. Also on the snow removal, so the team is gonna get together with administration to go over a snow removal plan for the season. We're gonna hammer out the plan. We do anticipate some changes in the plan as compared to past practice. And we are meeting 13th. Is that correct?
13th to the 16th, either Friday or the following.
Yeah. To go over that plan, and we'll present that plan to the council just so they be aware of what that plan is.
Do we have an update on the bridge?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, yeah, the Maryland Bridge.
Yes.
So the target date for them to start that was September. There's a couple of issues with easements to adjoining properties. Those are being worked out. And they are looking at a potential target date of January now to work on some of those easement issues. One of the occupants there, or excuse me, one of the landowners there is wanting the council to consider abating a portion of the street that dead ends on their property. However, we have to maintain easements because we have sewer access and things of that nature, but we haven't prepared anything for the council to look at doing that yet. But the gentleman and his wife owns that property all the way down to where it dead ends. And it dead ends to where the old Ameren lot is where that's at. As far as the pedestrian bridge, no updates on the pedestrian bridge on Georgia Street, and I haven't reached out unless Brian has reached out to the commissioners to see where we're at on that. I think their first plan of attack was the Maryland Bridge.
As far as distribution goes, actually, Phil, you're on my list to talk to, about that. They have the scraper in, they got the wrong cables and bolts for the scraper that we have, so they shipping them out as soon as possible, once that, they are draining the tank now. And so on my list to talk to Phil about is having some of his crew that needs training on working a fire hose to help run a fire hose to spray down the tank. Later on this week or start of next week, I was just informed about it yesterday. And so we'll get that scraper installed. The screener is coming to you. We're past our warranty. It's been broken for 1.5 years. And estimates is coming back about a little over $30,000 to get the screener fixed at the water waste facility. I asked how much would it cost to do a new one? You don't want to know the number. So 30,000 to refurbish the scraper, the screener that we have is probably a better deal. That's all I got now. And then the safety programs, we got that.
Yeah.
The fire crew has taken a tour of the water treatment plants and seen their needs. Phil is working on safety procedures for that. And once we get those, we'll put them online, we'll put them in the building, you know, as far as whatever we have to do to get it out there. But he's working on safety. Procedure. Rufus is also going to be, I'm talking Rufus, he is trained in a lot of areas. That's our military intern. So he's going to be working on putting together a training program for the water waste, city treatment and distribution program as far as different type of safety procedures. Oh, and then we sent 4 people to St. Louis for hazmat training.
And that's for the chlorine and the water treatment plant. How many,
It could be for chlorine, for fluoride, and that kind of stuff.
and while we're on the subject, how many people have we sent for additional training through DNR?
We have one that's going to a class in O'Fallon, and we have 2 that are going for Class D license in Macon.
So the big message is all of our distribution and water treatment and wastewater, we want every employee to have those certifications. And we're investing in them to help us out. Any questions on that part? Okay, infrastructure, ground, street, sidewalk, Councilman Bell.
The lower river wall. How's the engineering permit? One with that.
So we have our permits. There are a few caveats. We have a large colony of mussels that are endangered in the Mississippi, and we are not allowed to touch them. We did get a pre-estimate bid from, we had to have something in writing, so the same person who did our contract work for the cemetery wall gave us a pre-estimate and still needs to go out for bid for that. His pre-estimate bid is going to be about $20,000. The mayor and I sat down with them to talk about possible ways to cut that cost. And he's working up some of those ideas now. But officially, we have to take that bid out to the general public for anyone to bid on first. But in order to have a permit, I needed something in writing, and he was willing to put something together. And a lot of work was done by Charles, which I'm grateful for. So he's been working with Chris pretty well. So we have a permit, we just need to get something through.
Yeah, so I went down with them, down with Bill, myself and Charles and contractor. And so what we need is develop a statement of work so we can go out for bids. And we really, with 4 heads there, we kind of got a general idea of what we want to look at doing. And the lower wall where it's at needs to be patched and fixed and concreted. But the holes that were left on the flat surface areas will need to be filled. And with Gabion rock, large rock. And then one of the things that we're looking at is where the stairs go down, where that big hole is, that they fix that and level it. But one of the things that we're looking at doing is pricing to do an apron of large sandstone type landscaping to where just down the stairs. It won't do the whole thing, but at least where that hole was, it'd give it some decor and last through a flood. And one of the things that we're looking at doing is utilizing our grounds and street crews and whatnot potentially to help go in and clear all the silt that's on top of the surface there and level that back out. And that will help reduce some of the costs. So I think we'll have a statement of work here before too long. The time of year that they want to do this is now, between now and January is the goal. So hopefully we can get that statement of work out soon.
The Corps of Engineers would like us to do it now as well, because the river is at its lowest around December. And usually we've been having mild winters except for February, and then March, April, May is when the water starts to rise.
And one of the things about this too, council, is that any work that we do on this may, and I use the word may strongly, count for in-kind service if we do get awarded the project or from the Department of Conservation for our cost share. So we may be able to include that in that.
And the parking at Wallace Park is complete.
As far as the actual gravel and parking lot, it is complete. We wanted to wait until we got through sports season. We're planning on ripping up the old red, I want to call them car bumpers.
Yeah.
Where it tells you where, and replacing those with shorter, rounder, taller bumpers. We're planning on making a diagonal parking and have a one-way through there, so everybody goes the same direction to get in and out. And then, so other than the bumpers and some signage and removing the old bumpers that they have there, that's what we have to complete. We're trying to get ready to color fest, and so that probably will happen after color fest.
Yes, that's fine. And the painting of the hydrants.
They have started painting those. They're starting right here at Georgia Street. And I'm not gonna get, once they start getting away from Georgia Street, I'm worried about them putting it on the back burner, but I'm gonna hammer them to make sure that every fire hydrant is painted to the appropriate flow patterns of those fire hydrants. And the street department, the ones that are done look good.
They do look good. I'll look at several of them.
But each color of fire hydrant has a different meaning.
Yes. We're doing a good job so far. And that's it.
So one thing I'll add, Councilman, is one of the things that we're working with Charles on. And it's one of those things that we gotta get in the right time of the year, CDBG grants. And I know we are looking at the west end of town, looking at a water tower. You're looking at about anywhere from 800,000 to $1.2 million project. And we're also, I'm pushing for some sort of a grant to help do our sidewalk replacements and maybe finish some of the sidewalks on Georgia Street that were messed, and then have leftover funds to do a better replacement program than what we've been able to do. I think, Councilman Jordan's not here with public safety and police hiring, but I think we've really kind of covered that with the fire chief and the police chief. I love her
You want,
Can I say something in regards to this?
to the committee, yeah.
Yes, okay, I would like to bring up the fact, the night that my son was killed. We were told that, the officers did not have any body cams or anything. But this contradicts that statement, because here it says that the current body cameras that were utilized, that they're utilizing are proving to be insufficient to what they need. So why is it saying that they had body cams and they told us that they didn't? Why weren't they trained and appropriately being able to use these body cameras? Because my son's accident did not wind up happening and him being killed. It contradicts everything. What they said was one thing, and what this says is something completely different, and I just want to know what the truth is.
Alright.
Did they have body cameras and they just didn't? What's the deal?
There's two things. The cameras didn't kill your son.
I didn't say that the
What
cameras.
you kind of alluded to
No,
that.
I said that they said that they did not have body cameras, and it might have stopped my son from being killed that night if they would have been using body cameras.
Okay,
Because then maybe the chase wouldn't have ended up the way that it ended up, is what I'm saying.
Alright.
So I wanna know what's the truth. Did they
Our
have
officers
body cameras or
didn't have
did they
anything
not?
to do with how the pursuit ended.
Excuse me?
Our officers didn't have anything to do with how the pursuit ended. The Missouri State Highway
I
Patrol
don't believe
investigation.
that. I don't believe anything that you're saying. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him.
so the cameras that they had were insufficient, as it said. They had them, they were utilized, and they were discontinued because they were insufficient.
And I want proof that they were insufficient. This doesn't tell me anything if they were insufficient.
Right.
I want proof that tells me that they were trained and that the training did not work with the body cameras. I want to know everything because I have hired a lawyer to look into this and I want to know everything that has to do with what happened that
So
night.
I would suggest that you utilize your lawyer
Oh,
and
I'm
go through
going
the
to, but
process
still,
because
you guys have
we
information
won't
that
be
I
able to
cannot
answer your
take.
questions today.
Because I'm a citizen and this happened in the city that I live in, I want to have all the information that happened with the body cameras so that I can have it for myself, so that I can submit to my lawyer so that he knows exactly what happened.
He can make
So-
that request for you.
Yeah.
Say that again,
I said your lawyer can make that request for
I'm
you.
asking that for myself. I would like to have that information
You have a
myself.
lawyer, we
That's
have a
not-
city attorney,
I'm Asking
and
the information
officially-
about the body cameras.
okay, and it's been answered.
Just what you are. Especially you.
Okay. Anything else? Clifford? All right, ordinance committee.
What do you want to go first? Here, when we have to do this one, but chapter 100 is completed. Charles and I just need to sit down and go over it. Chapter 200 is completed, same thing. I did find a little discrepancies in the cat and dog thing, just a small thing. And
And
200
we've already got a first reading on 200, right?
had there's things in it that are wrong.
So we'll have to disregard the first reading and start over.
Okay. So, that's part of 220, so the whole 200s are done also. I started on the 300s. So what do you want out of these? 400s are completed. Also set new home from Doris, me and Charles. But I also would like to take the time to finish going over them myself, because like in one of these, it's as simple as missing an age of how old you gotta be to smoke cigarettes. It's 18 in the ordinances, it's 21 federal. So there's small things like that that I have found by going through these that need changes.
I think the state statute is 18.
Okay, you might wanna look that up, because I did some real long research over it.
It's 21 in Missouri. They just changed it, what, 18 months ago, something like that?
Go ahead, I was gone.
Cause I would.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
did
you
a
have
lot of research on this before I changed it and it's really fine, correct?
So the big thing with all the chapters that you mentioned is actually a summary of what the changes are.
Well,
What would help the council out?
I did, I have wrote down that. It's. Do you want these copies, do you just want, or do you wanna pass them around, these are the only copies I have, because I made it home. But I also have, like I said, all of 215, all of 200 is done.
Yeah, so we found some problems with 300 as well,
I had.
and we would go propose,
Got into the bot, but
yeah, we would go propose. Starting over with 300 anyway.
well, that coming next one, we can start on tomorrow, it'll be 300.
Because,
300 is what Billy and I went through.
Yes. But like I said, going through these 200, which had also been gone through, there's little mistakes here and there, like I said, like. It's what we aim.
I'm happy that we're catching these. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole council has that responsibility before we even give a first reading on anything. I'd rather catch them before we give any readings, so that's good news.
So, 400 is important, and I know marijuana is important, so I figured doing it. I had to pretty much all had already been done before. I would start, well, in between, I'll start putting off some stuff on marijuana to get us.
So the committee voted to go over chapter 100 then?
No, I just did that on my own because I like starting with the beginning of things and not the end. It's just saying it's done in case you need it.
Okay,
So we can do it first read after we get.
After Charles goes through these two, they continue to have a first read on them.
so the big intent is anything that we're giving a first reading to, we need to do our due diligence and read the ordinance and see,
I know.
make sure that we don't have to come back and re-amend.
Yes, the machine, they're
Yeah.
kind of confusing and.
Well, I'm not talking to you directly, I'm talking to the council as a whole.
Confusing and. It's not no more. Okay, next, about all I have on that. The ordinance part.
So just so the committee is aware, chapter 300 need to include the tow fee structures, and I believe Charles has got some of the updated language for that along with Mary. So the biggest thing with this, before we give any reading, just so the council knows, the ordinance has to be in its final form with no red lines, no strikes through it in its final form and given to our city attorney for review before we can give it a first reading. Because what is given as a first reading has to be what's available to the public for their review before we take a vote on it.
So there's, we can. I'm sure we can get the chapter 200 ready for a reading and chapter and the 300s.
Now, since
Or would you prefer the 400s?
We're having a meeting on the 16th for the 400s, remember?
Yeah, but it's not all just on, it's not all painting and zoning.
I know, well, we were going through the whole thing, that's why we said take it home and everybody go through it and. That's
On
where
the-
the marijuana ones.
On 400, that was the next thing. There are things about marijuana in a spot in one of them, and right off my hand, doesn't know, because I don't have the notes that I've been jotting down. And we're going to need more for that marijuana. I'm still wondering if we should have just a section in one of the chapters that is nothing but marijuana. And then it will all be in one place and not spread out.
That'd probably be best.
The very back of the 400s is an entire marijuana
Mhm.
section.
But there's more than just that, then 400s, I don't have anybody.
Excuse me.
My files. Well, these have my 400.
You got 200.
Before, because I didn't-
So
So add to what is, you're saying, look at the back of it and see if everything else can be added to it.
Well, there's a whole section, like pages of just marijuana at the very back of that section.
Yeah.
It's all red.
400.
Every bit of it's red.
That's all. added.
400?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
That was in that packet we had.
yeah,
Last planning and zoning.
yeah.
So Mayor, and council, in my understanding that the 100s will be introduced and assigned to committees. The 400 are going to stay in committee. And then the 200 and 300 are ready for first reads.
We never gone through it, and I think.
On the 23rd.
The 200 need to go back to committee. Just get the corrections made. that you've got.
Yeah, what he's got over there, we'll have to, somebody, I would, if it was me, I could come in and I would sit down with Charles like we did before, and then we'll just go through them and just go over what I had read, I've got read in there. But, you know, if anybody, if you read them, if you find little things that probably the person before you didn't catch.
So for procedure wise. The mayor wants to sign it back to the.
So on this, first of all, city clerk, you need to be aware that any bills that's been presented and given first reading has to be canceled and voided out. So we're start over with new bill numbers. I tell you what, I don't mind going and doing, going back to the committee. But however, in these work sessions and these committees, we can't take official action.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do is have the committee bring forth the proposed ordinance to be worked on at a regular session, so motions can be made and amendments can be made and everything without just killing the bill. So while we have a bill, we give it a pre-reading, not a first reading, but a pre-reading. And that way, if any of us do our due diligence and see something that we want to correct, we can afford that correction without giving a first reading.
So right now, we present, I sit down with a council person and we go through this. And then once we go through it with all the different changes, we introduce it and you assign it to the committee. And then the committee comes back to the council and then you assign it to the ordinance committee. And then after it comes back to the ordinance committee, then I schedule it for a first reading.
So you're right. I mean, thanks for the clarification of that, but the biggest thing is the committee's a member, the membership of 4. There's 4 of the council members that may have some input to this. And that's where I'm getting at. When you bring it back to the first reading, it doesn't afford the opportunity unless we fill it or we amend it to have, you know, to make that amendment. If we make that amendment, we have to post it for the public.
So we sit down with ordinance committee, correct, is that what you're saying? And then they have their chance, the rest of them have their chance to look at it.
Right.
We
They
disagree
should.
on things, we disagree, and then we,
So the big thing is that if we all do this ahead of our regular meeting and get it ironed out before first reading, there's not an issue. But just if an issue pops up at a regular meeting, it could be filled. Just, I mean, that's standard procedure anyway, but I just want everyone to be on the same page and move forward with it.
So my issue is, the committees are more than one person. And so like for the 200s, it was Cassie and I, and then the citizens that are on that committee. For the 300s, it was Billy, Charles, and I. And there's more people on that committee. The 400s, it's Doris, Linda, and Charles. And so there's more people on that committee that are not there. And we send this stuff out, every packet that's sent out is attached. So I need people to actually read their stuff and participate in the process instead of finding things after the fact.
I just said that the old one, and the one that we've done is what I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the internet, that's what I have. for
So I would suggest that the ordinance committee meet again before the regular council session. To hammer out what they're going to recommend.
There is ordinance.
It's one member from each ward, the you for Ward 3, Bill Sutter from Ward 1. And I believe, Councilman Bell from Ward 2. And then, or excuse me, your word, no, Robert, I'm sorry, I apologize. And then, Councilman Baker for Ward 4. I just gotta give you a little bit at a time, so I don't wanna scare you. So, I mean, that's up to the committee and, city administrator, but, I would like for them to take some time between now and the regular council meeting before we get anything on first read.
And if they don't get together,
So Bill, Lee,
No, it's Jordan, you, Baker, and, Bill.
we need to post it, those committee meetings too.
Yes. Anything else on ordinance?
no.
All right, tourism.
Under the tourism, somehow entwined with the comprehension community plan. I looked at that and they actually are talked about already in here quite often. So they're already more or less entwined with this. Because it's LVD, it's a LVCD in here, you know, and it just needs to be changed over to the LDC. Exactly that. And that's what I found out by intertwining them, they really already are in different spots. So I mean, that's my thing with that.
Oh.
You know, we want it-
It's newer than that. It is Marvin Brown comprehensive plan.
When it
Yeah.
started, I think they adopted it in 19.
Yeah, it's 2019 when it was adopted.
Also had on here, which I have, didn't see that in expense reports.
So the very first.
Yeah, so I was looking, so while we're talking about the comprehensive plan, that is something that needs to be updated and improved. I think the whole thing, like you've already mentioned, is that it's gotta be integrated with the Louisiana Tourism Committee's policies and procedures and so forth. So if you look in your packet right here, this is what was drafted. I drafted this for the council's consideration. And you probably look at the regular council meeting, any modifications or changes that the council would like to do between now and the regular meeting, but we need to approve policies and procedures for the committee. Doesn't require council approval, but here also the second page is the general procurement procedure guideline. So what's in the employee manual?
Okay, I'm confused about that, but like manual or handbook?
The handbook,
There is handbook.
yeah,
I
it is,
find this in the handbook that I have.
it's page 41.
Count the procedure.
It's just before that, I believe.
Procedure on what I have.
Formal bidding procedures.
Oh, yeah, I had one of those.
That's where it's at. Okay. Is that the new one or the old one?
I believe it's the new one.
Okay, there might be a page or two off, and the new one needs, Charles, the new guideline book, or the section, the index, everything, the numbers are off.
I did, I'll move it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's probably gonna take what you do that.
40.
Plus.
We're doing that now. So this is just as it is right now. This is our, this is what we do at the city. This is how we buy things. This is how we go through and how we do everything. So it's in black and white. And that'll be handed out to all department heads and any committees that has authority to extend funds. So. So that's done administratively. Because however, the handbook is done through the council. So if there's any changes that, as far as the limits and everything, that's where it's getting its reference from. But as far as
I had 9 months of their minutes, but I think all the minutes have been sent to you,
the mayor or the city clerk.
or probably the city clerk.
So the biggest thing we're looking for was just basically over the past year, what have we spent money on? Out of the funds. I'll be honest with you, the reason I'm asking is, I won't say grave, I was going to say grave, might as well now since I did, but, concerns that we haven't given much to our Color Fest, our biggest event of the year. So I'm kind of curious on what have we done to support Color Fest this year through the tourism committee.
I can't answer that directly, but I know all of that would have been approved back in like the spring. When we started planning for Color Fest, but I believe Jody has done the ads for that, so.
You know, a dollar amount,
I don't, 'cause I know she does a lot of it through Facebook.
is it more than 1,000 or less than 1,000?
I have no idea.
Facebook ad? Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the main one, and then also Missouri Life is our mainstay on advertisement.
So in the policies and procedures is section 3, roles and responsibilities. And develop a tourism strategy. The committee will create and maintain a comprehensive tourism strategy that aligns with the city's goals and objectives. That will be included with the city's comprehensive plan. So basically what we're looking at is what are we targeting and how are we targeting them? You know, are we targeting billboards? Are we targeting radio? Are we targeting brochures? Are we targeting magazines? And then what events are we pushing for and how we're going to do it and what's the anticipated reach of that and what the anticipated cost is really that where that comes from. And there's old minutes from the LVCB prior to the current committee, even something that Karen wasn't even involved is that has really detailed marketing strategies. I'll share with them.
There was definitely a Missouri Life, I'm not sure what they put in it.
So
That was $200 ad.
For what?
It doesn't say, it says Missouri Life magazine meeting for presented.
Yeah, so we have, I believe Missouri Life, we have like a standing 4 ads per year, and so based on when they come out, it's whatever the next event is.
So who gets Missouri Life? What's their distribution?
It's a huge distribution, that's all of it.
Have you seen that man?
And then there was one here to the color fest, and another one name,
That chamber did that.
banner, light banner, Facebook ads.
That would have been their website banner ad, community stuff ad.
So, I mean, this is a personal opinion, and I'll take it as a personal, or give it as a personal opinion. You know, Color Fest is our biggest event, it's our biggest draw, and this is, and percentages wise, you know, whether it's $5,000 or $20,000 that we have, the majority of what we got should focus on beating that drum, just a thought, and, but what I really like to see, regardless of my opinion, is just the strategy and layout and where the funds are going and how they're being used and what the focus is.
Well, I can give you a better report on that. In 2 weeks. Cut down, you can write it all down. Yeah. You can charge. I just couldn't get my hands on it, 7 of them. And I knew you guys had them, so I didn't know why I was gonna pick her anyway.
The other thing, as far as on the policies and what I'm looking at, so is section 3, roles and responsibilities, number 6. You don't have this, do you? Okay. Do we have an extra one of these to give B?
I've been doing something.
So,
I've been doing something.
yeah, section 3, roles and responsibilities, 6, reporting. So provide regular reports and updates to the mayor and the city council on tourism related activities and progress. That's not the one I was wanting to point out, though. I apologize. I jumped ahead of myself. Oh, it's number 5, chairperson and officers. Number 3, secretary, as far as community shall designate a secretary responsible for maintaining meeting records and documents, and all records shall be forwarded to the city clerk for records management. So that's one thing, you know, the LVCB, you know, it's changed hands a few times. And all those records and everything, our official records management person is our city clerk. So if anyone from the public asks for anything, that's who they'll be asking, it's the city clerk. So everything that we're kind of asking for now is something that can be shared with or given to the city clerk.
They have. Yeah.
As we get them.
So the next question I got on is the Economic and Tourism Committee and the Louisiana Tourism. So, Ms. Sherman, we, you know, just by chance, you was invited to the tourism committee meeting with the LVCB and made the appointments to that for the membership. And we included you as a liaison. Well, I acted improper on that, and I'm not going to reverse that because really that would fall under whoever's in charge of the Economic Development Committee and Tourism Committee, which right now would be Wayne Baker. So really, you're double, you're overextended.
But I'm fine with that.
So would you want to turn over the ordinance over to Wayne Baker? So, well, everyone has an equal voice, so don't make any difference.
Yeah, sure, turn over whatever you want, I'm still gonna do these ordinances and whatever you guys want is fine with me.
So just something to kind of keep in mind. This is, you know, the whole thing was to conquer and divide and conquer these projects. So we don't have any one person show.
Are you gonna take the rest of the city and the house?
No, that's a standalone committee.
These are,
Housing, health, senior services, and disadvantage is a standalone committee. So. Anything else, for the tourism?
no, I got all your stuff. And got a copy of that, got the copies, just, get with them and I'll get a better report on the, expenditures.
All right, economic development and tourism, Mr. Bateman. Yes, sir.
I had a meeting with the city administrator and he's been talking to several people that's interested in doing some things in Louisiana. There's a Jordan Hayson. He's kind of in retail and residential and he's looking at maybe bringing something in like a steakhouse or something of that nature, maybe a hamburger joint or something. Then what is it? JES Holdings of St. Louis is kind of into refurbishing buildings, older buildings. But like we talked about, the deadline on getting the grant was what, September 15th?
Or the historical tax credits.
Yeah, so it would have to be, if he does that, it would have to be after the first of the year. And at 1500 North Carolina, there's interest in building a 3 apartment complex. But I think there's something to do with it has to be up so high. And what they're checking on that, I'm not sure how far we are along with that.
It's in a floodplain, so.
Right. And
Then where the
There's some-
trailer court is,
uh,
it's where the trailer court is now, then,
Yes.
the old Civil War camp.
I'm not sure whereabouts on the trailer court it's going to be,
Closest to the road,
go closest to the road.
because that's the highest point, and they wouldn't have to use a bunch of concrete.
Right, it's in the back, it's floods pretty easy on the backside of that. And there was some talk about the old Ford building here, maybe putting in some type of microbrewery or something,
That's not microbrew.
yeah. And that, and the city administrator and the mayor are still working on grants for the buyout and food floodplain down here. And the old Hardy's building has been sold, as far as I understand, and the original owner years ago was the one that bought it back. Is that correct?
That's what we're hearing.
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's so or not, but. Then, Lone Star Protein, it was out to the. Out here, you know, on the other end of town, there's still, what, about 80% interested yet,
Is that about 85% still interested, they're doing schematics.
and that's gonna be in the old, Press Journal building. And then there's a fishery that's still talking to, you know, about bringing something in. And then there was talk about a cannabis facility. It would maybe hire like 150 people or so. If anything like that was mature. And then, I looked up, we looked on the water services and the last couple of months, there was like 15 of them that's looked up. And then, on the license, the new business license, there was about 39 in 2022. That's about all I got.
So the big thing on that is the water sources, those are brand new connections. That's way above average for the city.
That's pretty good.
So it's a lot of new connections within the town that's happening. So that means people are coming in. And also the 39 new business license, not renewals, but new business license within the past, 10 to 12 months.
And the big thing is with, when Wayne was talking about the, company from St. Louis coming up to restore, some of our buildings, the historical committee met and had an organizational meeting. And then we need to make sure that we get a historical audit and get them functioning with the register, of historical sites in Louisiana and on the National Registry. So they can take advantage of the historical tax credits. They're looking at the senior tax credits, and they're also looking at the low income tax credits and stacking them. So that they're gonna pay, they said roughly 15 cents per dollar. of the month that they spend. And that's why the historical tax credits are really, really important. They're looking at the hospital 1 year and possibly the old school another year.
The old hospital.
The old hospital, yeah, the old hospital.
Yeah, hold on.
The one that's not built on the edge.
All right, any questions for Councilman Baker? All right, housing, health, senior services and disadvantage.
Brian and I both have been working on that. I had stopped at, Pike Nutrition before, I don't know, did you make it down there? Yeah, you've been in there, but yeah. And so I was talking to them about what they need, and they really don't have a lot of things that they need. The only thing they mentioned to me was sometimes when they're loading the mills and stuff, they have issues with the police that want them to park correctly and things like that, and I can't give you a time zone limit on this, because I don't know when it was. But so Brian and I have discussed putting in a loading dock right there for them to load up just during certain hours, like, I think they start at 10, might be a little earlier.
So I don't know that I've received a complaint about them the entire time, so.
Yeah, and so just to keep it from happening, because they don't always park on the side of the street, they park back into like the door area, so they're actually kind of in the street. And it might have been the old people, so I can't give you a time period on that one. But that was about the only thing that she said, that the issues that they really have, and that was all I got out of her. And then we went down to Triple House, and they're in really bad need to have ramps. Them, if you've ever been over there, the curb is at least this high. People with wheelchairs and walkers cannot step off that. So they need ramps cut into the road down to the sidewalk, because right now they have to go all the way to one end or the other, and then walk all the way back up to the middle to get in. And people like, well, she's on a wall, she has a hard time walking real far. So that's a big walk from her to have to get out down here and walk all the way up to the ramp at the doorway. So if we could somehow get them some ramps on there, it would be big help for all of them down there. Brian and I talked about too, because it's a kind of long stretch, so it's kind of in thirds, we'd be cutting in thirds, kind of. And that's not all they say either, they're pretty happy people down there.
So council, the fix for the Pike County Council on Aging, that's their Meals on Wheels, where they load up the meals to send out to different ones. That would probably cost a cost of a sign and some yellow paints. So that would be a fairly easy, cheap fix. And the Trimble House, I met with them today at their board meeting. And they're going to present either in person or by letter that they will accept any liability for any hard rainfalls that the curb cuts may cause. And that the curb, depending on where you're at, is anywhere from 4 inches to 9 inches, depending on where you're at on the street. So a small ramp down to the sidewalk will have to be done. So I'm thinking we can get that done for 500 or less, just an eyeball in my head figure. And some paint the ramps, but let the sidewalk is not going to be flat here. It's going to be rounded off for a ramp.
So there is currently a loading zone sign there next to Pico there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I've seen it. It needs to be replaced. It's pretty rusted out shape. The alleyway in the back, I believe, is abated. So we don't have no authority over that alleyway back there. This is
No, this is on the street.
yeah, no, you said they loading in the back.
No.
Because
Street, I'm sorry.
okay, I get you. I know they load on the back as well. There's a back door that they use. I'm an elk member and seen it, so. But I'm just saying if they're worried about that, that's an abated alleyway, so. We have no authority over that, but they currently do have a sign there, just, it's rusted out. Hard to see.
They want it on the street where a lot of people just back up from there. And then they load from there. So it'd be right on the street.
So probably right where the sign is now. It's right there on the street.
Right by the-
It's right by the
I
dumpster.
haven't seen it either.
Yeah, it's right there by the dumpsters. Yes, I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. It don't make any difference. It needs a new one.
But yeah, that's an easy thing.
All right, enterprise public utilities, Councilman Duff.
Okay, Brian, you gave us an update on the screener for the wastewater plant. Did you give us an update on the, well grate?
The well grade, you all approved the bid for a little over 10 grand, but they come back, they're, and measured a couple of times. And, they are currently fabricating, because there is no product for it, so they're fabricating a grate that will be attached to the walls to keep people from falling 30 feet down plus to the intake valve down there. The intake valve, there's a couple pumps there that have burnt out, and you all have approved a replacement of those pumps or a refurbishing of those pumps. And they are currently not installed. I got a bid for one, but I was informed that the second one is about ready to go as well, and there's only two. And that will be a huge issue with all our pumps are out. So that's where we're at on that. This,
Can you say that again? It's the one that's been replaced? Has it been replaced in use? We got two going right now?
we have one that's working, but it is showing signs
Right, I
of
get that.
fatigue. The other one that is not working at all, you've approved that, and they're currently working on getting the parts and
Okay.
putting that together to refurbish that.
Okay.
You want me to go with the scraper?
Yes, yes.
So I mentioned a little bit about the scraper, they got the scraper in, and then 3 weeks later, we got the chains, the bolts and that kind of stuff to move the scraper along the bottom. They have the wrong chains and the wrong bolts, and so that's being reshipped back. And they're in the process of getting that, the replacement to us. The water treatment guys are draining that intake well where the settlement settles. They're doing that now. It was a surprise to me, and then I asked Philip if he would help out with his fire crews if they needed some training on working a fire hose to wash down the sides and clear out the sludge that's built up over the top.
Okay. And the painting water pipes in the winter?
So we had the DNR compliance some time ago for both wastewater and then now we've had a compliance inspection DNR for the water treatment. Anything he suggested that we need to do before our real inspection, I wrote down. One of the issues that dealt with the pipes showing some paint flaking and some rusting and around the bolts, the rusting. So in the wintertime, when things are cold, we plan on scraping down with a wire brush those bolts and the rough spots, and then repainting those pipes to the appropriate colors that gives a code of what water it is. I'll be coming to you sometime before they begin to get approval to purchase the paint. Okay.
Thank you. That's all we have there.
Any questions? Any other questions for the enterprise? Public utilities? Have we had any customer service complaints at the water office? Cause I want to point that out. That was a standard issue previous years. Has there been any has anyone received any complaint?
Everybody says that things have vastly gotten a lot better.
Okay.
Mayor, my office right next to them, I don't hear them getting complaint call at all.
Okay.
I've had one complaint that was filed, they turned the water on, it was a brown slime that came out. But after further investigation, it turned out his salt water or
Softener.
softener that he thought was disconnected, was not disconnected, and all that slime and sludge was. Some very nasty salt coming out of that thing, and so it wasn't our issue.
So under this section, and I'll repeat it again at our regular meeting, but. Our crews, we got one hell of a team right now. Administratively and with each department within the city, and everyone's pulling their weight, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that everyone's pulling their weight, and this council as well. I think we can get some things done to help improve our city. Community and employee relations, Councilman Gott.
I want to say if I saw anything, it was what I brought up the last time. And I think we took care of that. So,
We're gonna look at 32 hours, is it not still 30?
32 hours. Yeah. Full time or part time.
I looked that up too, whenever I could time, it still says 32.
That's not the issue he's talking
Oh,
about.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was talking about, probationary and,
Senior handbook, so that's wrong.
That was probationary.
Sorry.
probationary, we did an and or mayor for, releasing, employment on a probationary.
Instead of just that one person.
Then we're talking about the plan and not the door.
The motion that was made or passed was and or.
So like nobody can just say, you know. Even if it's true, giving each other that, nobody can say that.
Well, it hasn't been finalized, so we can change it.
All right, if y'all are talking about something, the other half of council can't hear you.
32 hours, full-time, part-time, temporary, seasonal health classification on 40 for your schedule more than 30 hours weekly. Will be considered to be full-time employees. They thought it changed to 32 hours, but from what I researched and find, it's still anything over 30 hours is considered full-time and not 32.
Yeah, you're correct. It is 30 hours. And the city's policy is 29, actually. And it's only after 32, if they show consecutive working at 32 hours, they would be considered full-time. If it's periodic, there's a metrics to it. And it's a federal guideline and state guideline metrics to it.
So should that change to 29?
Yeah.
Or we're gonna 30?
Because it was 29 to 32.
So I'd leave it at 30 hours.
Okay. So right now, the employees and Charles have been working on this, and so we'll get Charles to get that changed, like to 30.
Yeah, because that'll come back and bite us if Sean shows employment for that. Yeah, we'd have to own benefits and the whole 9 yards.
So that was a combination of Alyssa, Heather, Donald, Carl. And then Clinton Keller, who's been served time on both sides of the fence, both as a council person and as an employee.
Well, the CARE Act is where I found that information on the 30. So but I used that looking at several, anyway, a couple of times, so I'll have it look for.
Yeah, so it's the actual document would be the Fair Labor Standards Act that you'd have to look at, FSLA. That would dictate all that good stuff. So another thing that we're talking about, what was anything else on the handbook?
There's just some typing in it, and I got some too much.
And council, any others on the? Councilman got anything else on that? So anything we need for the regular meeting, we'll have a clean copy.
What she's added, what could be it.
So we'll get the council a clean copy before the next regular meeting. Okay. Councilwoman Portis, Animal Control.
We had an inspection. On the streets. And, we got some issues that need to be fixed, but I believe that Brian has got a copy of this same report that I had.
I've got it at the same time you did.
Okay.
And I know that, April had, we don't have working smoke detectors, so we're gonna get a couple smoking detectors. Mentioned something about rust on sharp edges in one of the pins in the back. I talked to Ryan Green about possibly getting that fixed before, December 1st. We're coming back, for another inspection. In December, so I gave Ryan Green a December 1st. One of the back pins does not have a large doghouse in there, and so we ordered one of those today. And, we're going through this. A lot of things that they pointed out deals with things that, our current animal control and Jeremy and Gerald. I always say Gerard. Jeremy and Gerald, were not here for, because our, the violations were basically from, but volunteer animal control person. And we're getting those fixed. If you check out the website, and his animal, the John Cotton Animal Shelter, you'll see that a lot of these forms are, being added to the website for adoption and fostering, so they can print out the applications there. And, April and I, and soon Gerald, who's been sick for a couple days, are gonna be working on some of the other forms that will be in compliance with this report as far as what they're not doing as far as reporting. That includes things like, labeling pages, animal free, that kind of stuff.
Councilwoman.
One thing that, I just had a quick conversation with Joe today, but one thing that concerns me is the size of, probably need a couple of larger enclosures for the cats that come in to have a litter. I know that there's been one mother cat that had a litter out there, and she had enough room to lay there and nurse kitten. And by the time we got the box in there, and feed and water, that was going all the room she had, was enough to stand up, turn around those kittens. So I think it would be a good idea to look into one or two larger cages for that. Plus, like you had the 3 kittens in the one, and she didn't care for that, the inspector didn't care for that, so then we could keep litters together.
Right. We're gonna do a mid-year budget, and, animal control is something that has not been funded for a long time, and now it's being funded. So, I mean, that's an extra expense, but the council's gonna have to approve an extra budget item for that.
The roundup's still going for that, right?
Yeah.
Roundup, yes. I don't have an update on how many people signed up. I know I've sent 2 press releases on the Roundup program to the papers, and they have yet to print it. When you do press releases, you're gambling whether or not they're gonna give you a free story or not.
Well, you go about getting that, it's like, I got mine on that $50
Mhm.
my bill, so I just put some money extra on there and they make sure it ends up over there.
So, with this upcoming billing, there's supposed to be, a link to the roundup form that they can sign up, and it will be put on the utility bill. So that's gonna be put on this month, on that website. And it's also, if you don't wanna do the roundup program, or you wanna give more than just your change, we have a drop down on the payment that says the animal shelter as well. So if you don't wanna give 38 cents and you wanna give $5 or $50, we have the drop down as well. That should go on the billing this month to let everybody know about the roundup program. We scheduled for an October launch time. That's
So, Council, do we have any updates on number of animal tags issued? Number of intakes we've done at the pound, or number of adoptions that we've done?
I have gotten the intakes from him today,
Okay,
and I will have a full report. For the company.
okay.
He's been sick on road,
Right.
it's been one of them things. I can tell you that at this point in time, we have 8 dogs and 10 cats out there. 6 kittens and 4 adult cats. We sent 1 dog, 5 kittens and 1 adult to rescue in the month of September. And I don't think we've got any of the bills back yet, but we had 1 dog that had to have his front, I believe it was right leg amputated. It was broken, it was not set at that point in time, it was healed crooked, and the veterinarian decided that the best method for him, since it was such an old injury, was to amputate his leg. He is being sponsored by a rescue called Mona Pants. They're taking care of his surgery. And I believe they are also working on finding him rescue, helping us find rescue for him.
Currently, we've only, with our current animal control officer, we've only euthanized 1 cat. And that cat was stuck in a fence. And it had constant seizures. So it had a seizure, and then it will be seizure free for about 30 seconds to a minute before it went into another seizure, and it would not stop. And so on recommendation of the vet, we did euthanize that cat.
So the TNR, which is in that chapter 200 program, so, you know, we suspended that program, right? So the new programs in this chapter 200, which we're starting over again, right? So, I do know there's some forms and stuff in there about the PNR program. Have you know if any of that's been disseminated? To
Not
any,
to my knowledge, it has,
for any other outside review? Okay.
not to my knowledge, it hasn't. I haven't.
I know there used to be a cat coalition, so it might, any of those individuals, if they, I know, maybe Brian, well, they followed us around from the town hall meeting, so.
They did.
So-
I'm happy that they did.
I am too, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that we can get some input from them as well.
And then, like I said, April and I are working for, making sure that all our forms are online. April did, a couple of them today, and we're meeting with Gerald tomorrow, I hope. And we're gonna make sure that we have all the information on these new forms, and the TNR program will be one of those forms. So we need to make triple, make sure that we have a sponsorship form on there and such.
And along with putting in your numbers for your outcomes with these animals, I'm gonna make a form at the end of the year in order to renew our license. We have to, along with our application, we have to send in how many animals were adopted, how many were removed, how many were, we have to have a full list, we have to have cats and dogs. And so I'm going to make a form so that every month they can fill that out, so that at the end of the year,
That's really, you don't spend extra time sorting through, finding out
Okay.
what the outcome is.
Yep.
Of each animal,
Well, when you do that,
trying to streamline it a little bit.
we have to break it down to dogs and puppies, cats and kittens. Because that's how. the
Oh, I
Department of
didn't have to do that last year, or maybe somebody, just, yeah, I don't know.
Department of Ag would like that.
Okay, all right, well, what do they consider a puppy? That's maybe.
I think it's less. for a kitten. That's my understanding.
Overall general status of the shelter compared to 6 months ago?
Well,
Okay, so they'll be.
So when Jeremy was the animal control officer, while we looked for a person, Jeremy did a lot of work there. He's replaced latches and a lot of things, cleaned the place up a lot. Gerald is doing the same, but Jeremy was really good, and Gerald's is not been there as long as somebody can improvements every time I've stopped in, which is usually once or twice a week. Place is clean, it still smells like animals, but it's not as pungent as it was when I first came to Louisiana and toured it for the first time. So, it's much better. And then with the street department cleaning up some of the stuff around the town, it looks nice. And it smells nice.
Good deal. All right.
One question on that. Does Stephanie Price have anything to do with that animal?
It depends if you ask that the price or not.
Well, because somebody's complaining she's taken their animals out of their yard. So I didn't know if that was
I
on.
would say that the person that we're talking about is very creative and reporting, but she has nothing to do with the pound. She has been banned from the pound by more than one administration. And the current animal control knows that she's not allowed in the pound. I will say that individual is now calling the code enforcement and making complaints on animals, thinking that the code enforcement will act on their behalf.
I know her firsthand. That's my brother's ex-wife.
So Councilman Price, tree commission.
So we don't, I think we are going to, or was gonna ask to do away with that, I believe.
It's up, yeah, it's up to the
Do
council.
you know it's an ordinance?
It's in the ordinance.
Yeah, yeah,
It's an ordinance.
yeah, it'd have to be repealed. So that's up to this council.
If you study that council commission, you get reading on it. It actually. If you could get anybody to do it, let's put that out there first. It's a very good thing when you go around the corridor of the town. And you can find spots to plant, get bushes or trees or, I mean, there's more to it than what when you just hear the words tree commission. Oh, you're gonna go out and plant a tree, but there's actually more to it than.
I can't even plant a tree outside and keep it alive.
I can't say I.
And the thought process was to add dangerous trees as well to the committee's responsibility, but
And
Well, I've
and a lot
reported
of
it.
cities want to be labeled as a tree city because it's a nice feather in your hat when you're applying for grants. However. Again, it's like, there's no action or no involvement for the most part with the citizens in this area.
And it's a shame, because once you get reading on it, it does some pretty good stuff.
And this is something that we probably can incorporate into our grounds and parks department. And.
I can go around and plant trees. It don't bother me. I look, see which one.
so anyway, that's,
Good idea. Somebody's doing.
it's a good idea if someone does it. Otherwise, it's just ink on paper. All right, miscellaneous business, anything?
I have one thing I'd like to add to the police report in this, in the miscellaneous section here. Because it was brought up earlier this evening, I wanna let everybody here know that we have received information from the highway patrol that cleared that officer of any wrongdoing. And, you know, said that he acted in the right. The caveat that I wanna add to that is to put on some salesman shoes and say, this is why this purchase that I'll present to you later this week will be important to buy papers. Even though we're acting in the right, it'd be a lot easier if you could say, here, look at this video with us, and we'll show you that. So that's all I had to add.
Well, the council doesn't hear everything that went on in that either, or you're hearing your side of it. So,
And that's why I want to make sure the council was aware that he has been, in fact, been cleared by the Missouri State Highway. Who investigated it fully. Even pulled the black boxes out of the patrol car and the car that was involved and everything else, so.
All right, entertain the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
No, motion, second, discussion, all in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Fine.
so where is the, let's say he was asking about the, I have no idea what the. So where is the papers of the definitions of what? I would do?
Well, she's referencing ordinance, so the biggest thing, it's never meant to be a one-line.